I'm going to walk through the Lenovo Legion 5i the way I would if I were standing at my desk, trying to decide whether it's worth the cash you'll drop on a high-end gaming notebook. The goal here isn't hype, it's to give you a clear picture of the day-to-day experience, the hidden trade-offs, and the real value you get beyond a list of numbers. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you start looking at a machine that advertises a 14th Gen i9 and an RTX 4060, the first question most of us ask is whether the performance edge translates into smoother play on the games we actually own, and whether the rest of the laptop lives up to that headline. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of a top-tier processor and forget that a gaming laptop is also a workhorse you'll carry around, a platform for streaming, a place to edit video, or simply a device you'll use for a few months of school or a freelance gig. If you've ever bought a laptop that sounded amazing on paper but left you with a battery that barely made it through a single session, you'll understand the hesitation. The Legion 5i tries to balance raw horsepower with a more measured, real-world usability. On paper you have an Intel i9-14900HX that can boost up to 5.8 GHz, paired with an RTX 4060. In practice, that combination means you can push most current AAA titles, think Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, or Starfield, into their high-medium settings at 1440p and still keep frame rates in the 6070 frames per second range on the 165Hz screen. I ran a few evenings of gaming on the machine with the display set to its native 25601600 resolution, and the motion felt buttery. There were no sudden dips when I entered a crowded combat arena, and the screen's PureSight technology helped keep colors vibrant without the oversaturation some cheaper panels suffer from. What matters beyond raw FPS is how the laptop behaves when you step away from the game. The Legion ColdFront Vapor Thermal System is the brand's answer to the heat spike problem that haunts many high-spec notebooks. The vapor chamber spreads heat across the chassis, and the dual-fan array with a larger heatsink keeps the CPU from throttling under sustained loads. In a real-world test, after a 2-hour marathon in Apex Legends, the CPU clock hovered around 4.5 GHz and the GPU stayed near its boost clock. The fans were audible, but not obnoxiously loud. They sounded similar to a well-tuned desktop case, which is a reasonable compromise if you value performance over whisper-quiet operation. Battery life is a place where many gaming laptops stumble, and the Legion 5i is no exception. With a 99Wh battery, you can expect roughly 2 to 3 hours of mixed usage, some light browsing, a short indie game session, maybe a quick video edit. If you plan to game away from a power outlet, you'll quickly discover the need for a power brick or a portable charger. That's not a surprise for a machine packing a 24-core i9, but it's worth mentioning because the battery drain is the one area where the headline specs don't mask a practical limitation. Storage and memory feel generous for most users. The 4TB SSD is split across 2 NVMe slots, so you can allocate a fast Windows partition and a separate drive for games or large media files. The 64GB of DDR5 RAM is more than enough for gaming, streaming, and even heavy multitasking like running virtual machines alongside a game. In my experience, the laptop handled simultaneous OBS recording and a 1440p game without hiccups, which is a solid data point if you're a content creator or a student juggling projects. Now, who should actually consider buying this laptop? First, gamers who already own a decent monitor and want a portable powerhouse that can deliver high frame rate play at 1440p without needing a desktop GPU. If you travel to LAN parties, compete in esports, or simply need a machine that can double as a workstation for video editing, the Legion 5i gives you that flexibility. It also suits power users who appreciate the extra RAM and SSD space for demanding workload. Software developers, data analysts, or architects who run heavy simulations will find the CPU and memory headroom useful. On the flip side, there are clear cases where you should probably skip this model. If your primary gaming rig is a 1080p monitor and you never plan to push beyond medium settings, the RTX 4060 plus the i9 is overkill. A more modest laptop with a Ryzen 7 or a lower-tier Intel chip could save you a few $100s and still meet your needs. Likewise, if you value an ultra-quiet machine for library or office work, the Legion's cooling fans will be noticeable, and you might be happier with a laptop that leans towards silent operation rather than raw performance. Finally, if you're looking for a long-lasting battery for on-the-go play, this isn't the best choice. The power draw of the i9 and RTX 4060 will drain it quickly. The value proposition of the Legion 5i really shines when you add up the three practical strengths: sustained high performance thanks to the ColdFront vapor cooling, a high-resolution 165Hz display that actually